Welcome to Eagle's Perch Leadership Watch, where we explore local, national and international issues from a governance and leadership perspective and their implications for ordinary citizens. South Africa is bleeding, not from a lack of ideas, but from a chronic failure of leadership. And nowhere was this more evident than in President Cyril Ramaphosa's recent opening remarks at the so-called National Dialogue, a multi-million rand talk shop dressed up as a solution but hollow at its core. Let's be clear, this wasn't a moment of reckoning. It was a masterclass in political misdirection. A performance that asked rhetorical questions like, why is our nation so angry? And why do our institutions lack trust? As if the answers weren't staring us in the face. As if the ruling party, the ANC, hasn't been at the helm for over 30 years. As if the decay of public institutions, the collapse of service delivery and the erosion of ethical governance are someone else's burden to explain. As if the decay of public institutions, the collapse of service delivery and the erosion of ethical governance are someone else's burden to explain. This dialogue, expensive and elaborate, is not a solution. It's a distraction, a way to simulate accountability without delivering it. Because real accountability doesn't come from round tables and rehearsed speeches. It comes from consequence management, from reforming procurement systems, from protecting whistleblowers, and from prosecuting corruption without fear or favor. Because real accountability doesn't come from round tables and rehearsed speeches. It comes from consequence management, from reforming procurement systems, from protecting whistleblowers, and from prosecuting corruption without fear or favor. But instead, we get platitudes. We get symbolism over substance. And while the president speaks of rebuilding trust, communities are left without water, municipalities are collapsing under debt, and crime syndicates operate with impunity. The disconnect between leadership and lived reality has never been more stark. So what are the governance implications of this charade? Erosion of public trust. When leadership deflects responsibility, citizens disengage, voter apathy rises, civic participation declines, democracy weakens, institutional paralysis. Without decisive leadership, institutions become performative. They exist, but they don't serve. They report, but they don't act. Policy stagnation. Dialogues without implementation frameworks are just noise. They delay reform. They dilute urgency. Fiscal waste, millions spent on venues, catering and consultants, while clinics run out of medicine and schools crumble. South Africa doesn't need more speeches. It needs ethical leadership. Leadership that owns its failures, confronts its complicity and rebuilds from the ground up. Leadership that understands that governance is not a performance, it's a promise. So to every citizen watching, don't be fooled by the choreography of dialogue. Demand substance, demand accountability. Because until leadership stops asking rhetorical questions and starts answering for its record, these talk shops will remain what they've always been, expensive theatre in a country that can no longer afford the ticket. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.